Hey guys, how are you? How's it going? Happy Sunday. I know it's late. Well, it's getting late. It's 10:45, but I'm sure for everyone's not on the East Coast. But anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. I kind of took most of Sunday kind of getting all my stuff together to do this today and whatever happens tomorrow. So I hope everyone's good. And I guess I did drop a video over here on Strong Mommy Chrissy. So we did do that. Anyway, I was gonna do a reaction to the Keisha video because honestly, I didn't think I even knew until yesterday that there was a video that dropped when I happened to see it. But I said, you know what? Phone Calls from Prison had just put out a video, and I've got another call to put out myself that I was just trying to edit a little bit because um, I've been pretty much just dropping the phone calls over there and a little bit different content and then doing the reactions over here. So that seems to be like working much better. So anyway, I figured let's go ahead and talk about what's going on because tomorrow any of you guys who listen to Steve Harvey are going to know, like, allegedly they're supposed to be talking about the situation tomorrow. I just don't see how they can really get in depth because consider the fact that Ernesto, this is still a case. So he hasn't even gone to court yet as far as a trial. He's still very much in kind of like the indictment phase. He hasn't, he's still trying to work on bonds and indictments for pending charges. This is going to be a very long situation and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. But we did learn today, on top of us already knowing that Ernesto loves to talk on the phone to pass his time, we did hear a call. Dr. A, you might want to go out and come back in. Can everyone else hear me? Hey, Live, Laugh, Love, can you hear me? Anyone who can, let me test the sound. Dr. A, that might be a you problem, sis. Yeah, Dr. A, I think that's a you problem. I just clicked on my browser and I can hear it just fine. Is it something wrong with my tablet? I don't know, sis. Yeah. Click out and come back in, boo boo. Okay, so this is what we know. I'm trying to write a list because there's so many different things that we should talk about before we even get into a call. Okay, so there's Marjorie. I'm gonna put that on the list. There is tomorrow strawberry letter. I'm gonna be honest. I think the strawberry letter tomorrow is gonna be mind your business. We're grown. Everything's okay. We've got it under control. And I think Shirley's gonna say, I can't really talk about it much. I would not expect too much because as far as we know, that is still her husband. As far as we know, even if they're in the middle of a divorce, um, she doesn't want to say anything that can be used against her moving forward. And I just think it's still a pending case, and there's not a whole lot that she can say because anything that she could have known, might have known, because some of these calls to me, there have been people who've kind of inferred that maybe Shirley's working with the alphabets. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is what's so interesting about it. We don't know. And I think that's another component to this whole thing. It's kind of it's a huge mystery. There's crimes that have taken place. So this man is up on criminal charges, but there's the crimes, there's the romance, which is the love triangle, and there's the calls. The calls are kind of a thing all unto itself. There's people who are saying these calls were leaked. These calls weren't leaked. These calls are public information, and a freedom of information request was put in, and the calls were sent to a US citizen who requested them. That's it. It's not leaked. It was requested, and it's anybody can do it. Anybody. It wasn't leaked. So there's people, I've seen thumbnails saying, how did these calls get leaked? They weren't leaked. But, I would just say this. That just goes to I'm going to just say it like this. That goes to the research involved. Because how are you, okay, we're not even going to talk about it. The calls aren't leaked. So that's another thing. So the phone calls, the kind of creepiness of some of the calls, the side chick situation, the cast of characters, all of the people. But it's really interesting. So, as far as like today, there was the call where Shirley was like, "Yeah, there's the restraining order. Remember I told you?" Or, "Yeah, when Sheridan went down there, they said, when he said, 'Well, I can't see Sheridan,' or they said to stay away from." Yeah, she's like, "It's a restraining order. Remember I told you?" And da da da. Da. And it's like, but we knew this already because any of you guys who have watched the bail hearings, I have posted on my other channel with Judge Manning. They said, stay away from Melanie Scretchen, stay away from, Lakeisha Williams, which is his daughter, stay away from. And so there was a no contact order put in place, which are basically, I guess, restraining orders. Um, so we already kind of knew that, right? We heard the deputy district attorney Taylor say that they considered him to be a flight risk, that he met all of the criteria as a flight risk. So they wanted his passport, they want him with an ankle monitor, they consider him to be dangerous, a menace to, they didn't say menace to society, but basically they said dangerous. For what reasons we don't know. He was asked to stay away from, he was asked to stay out of Fulton County, period, right? So, it's interesting. And it's also interesting, why was he moved? If he's to stay out of Fulton County, he's got charges in Fulton County, he's sitting in Cobb County. Did they not want him in Fulton County because maybe he's connected in Fulton County? He may know too many people. Maybe they felt like he was going to have too many contacts in Fulton County. I mean, I'm speculating. I'm not sure, but you know what I mean? It can't be because of overcrowding, because we hadn't heard it was overcrowded other than he says it's like ratchet and ghetto. um but he seems to, if he's not to be in Fulton County, then that would stand to reason why he's not in Fulton County jail potentially, if it's not like an overcrowding thing. So I don't know, just there's a lot of questions, right? But what did we know about the restraining order? Every single time he's gotten bond, which now is almost to $1 million tally on his bonds, he's been given the same orders. No leaving the house. If you work, you must report that to the court. You have to have an ankle monitor. You can only go to doctor's appointments. No using people's credit cards, no using anything without your name on it. Um, then there's the protection order, the no contact. I can pull up the bail hearing because I do have that posted on my channel. But any of you guys who need to get caught up, you missed some of that stuff. But what I'm going to say is this: some of this stuff that we heard like 2, 3 months ago is now coming to life because you hear these things in the news broadcasts or in the bail hearings. And now it's like, oh, okay. You hear Sheridan can't doesn't want to be around Ernesto, or Shirley saying, "Yeah, she put a restraining order." Well, we knew that. We heard that in the bail hearings twice, right? um, Sheridan, the grandchildren, no contact with his co-defendant, Erica Hughley, Erica Rothschild, Melanie Scretchen, all of the cast of characters and names. And the one that popped out to me this week was when they said Lakeisha Williams, which that is his daughter. So he's got a no contact with his daughter, no contact with Shirley's daughter, no contact with the grandchildren. Um, Let me pull it up real quick so we can kind of refresh our memories about that whole situation, because I feel like it's so helpful now because it was like, oh, okay, when it initially happened, but now it's kind of like, okay, we know who these people are now. It's like we know some of these people. Let me see. Even though obviously we don't know them, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Um, okay, so that there's obviously the crime, there's a whole situation happening. There's also the love triangle situation. What was weird to me today was hearing, not weird because we know that this happens. It's common that families will keep secrets and families will play you for a fool, and that unfortunately that Shirley's son-in-laws were fully aware of their father's shenanigans and basically, you know, playing her for a fool. I would really like to know, is Ernesto, obviously we know that Ernesto there's issues there, right? But what we don't know is this a full on con job, um, grifting situation? Is he just out and out taking advantage of Shirley, um, his wife, who had some means and probably credit and a network, which made her valuable to him, even if she wasn't necessarily rich? We know that the components of high value aren't necessarily always a lot of money. It's network, influence, resources. There's several different components to make you kind of valuable to someone, right? And even if she was worth $5 million at one time, clearly she's not worth $5 million now. Um, and at the end of the day, um, it's not looking good for her, unfortunately. And some of these calls, it kind of makes you think, like, what does she know, what does she not know? And then some calls, it's like, does she know anything? Like, what's wrong with sis, right? um Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Anyway, if you listen to the calls tonight, I felt like it was kind of interesting. um But we kind of, those are some of the things that I feel like if you've been following this case, you kind of knew, but it definitely is very interesting hearing them talking about it. Um, I just know that a lot of like Ernesto's wows and whats are quite annoying to a lot of people. And I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to continue to kind of advance in time to hear like how things start to develop and hear a little bit more. Cause his son, I mean, it was funny if you we're listening, and we're going to definitely listen to it because Ernesto basically almost told on himself. He basically did tell on himself, and Sonia caught it, but Sonia's a certified side chick, and what side chicks do is stay in their place. Do we not know that? If you are a side chick, you know you need to stay in your place. And at the end of the day, basically he got caught up in talking business with two different people, and he was trying to kind of lie his way out of the situation, and she was like, because she already knew he was lying to her. And maybe that's why it came up that old girl called old girl, right? And told old girl everything. Girl certified, she's certified, she's doing a bid with this guy, he's not even gotten his bid yet, and she knows that he's married to a high profile woman, or to a woman with some influence and a name, right? So she has relegated herself to a certain situation. Let's hear, I think I have it in some shorts where we don't have to listen to the whole thing right away. um let's see what's going on. But again, you guys already know that tomorrow morning they're supposed to be doing it as a strawberry letter. um who knows? You know what I mean? Me personally, it sounds cute, but I just don't think that she can do a whole lot of talking. I don't see how she can sit there and open up about an open investigation. It's not even a case yet. Like it's he doesn't even have a day in court, so how is she going to really be able to talk about anything when this is an open investigation and he hasn't had his day in court yet? So what can she do? What could she possibly say? um Maybe she can talk about, yes, my husband's been in jail, but I don't know where that's going to get us. Let me see if I've got it right here.
if the court is inclined to grant a bond on this, which would see him released, the state does have a number of people we would be requesting no contact with as well.
All right.
Melody,
I'm sorry, Mr. Majeski, finish up.
oh, no problem. Melody Scretchen,
Okay.
Gail Bickham,
Now, Gail Bickham, I don't know who that is.
Alasia Alexander,
Alasia Alexander, Melanie Scretchen, Gail Bickham.
Leilani Waits,
So these are all victims, I'm assuming.
that's THW. Miles Williams, Lakeisha Williams,
Lakeisha Williams is his daughter.
Brianna Jordan, Deborah Johnson, Sheridan Strawberry and her kids, Olivia Washington.
It's like, who's all those people? Okay, this
$10 bond for the case involving the exploitation. There are 4 separate counts there. As standard, I would also request that there be an ankle monitor placed on Mr. Williams, as well as that he surrender his passport, not leave Fulton County, have no internet access at all, and no contact with any minors or animals. But again, he's met all of the Ayala factors. He's a flight risk, as evidenced by phone calls that we've heard.
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
Judge, just one more thing.
$1,000 bond.
23 CP 220091, Ernest Williams, 404 days without indictment, 3 counts of theft by deception felony. Preach. Rah.
Has other history, but what's important, I guess, is he has 8 open cases to a Judge Edwards, 22 SC 104, theft by taking, theft by deception, theft of services, deposit account fraud. He got a few CWAC cases. Then there's the other theft by deception, 3 counts, CWAC case, the capital CWAC case. Then there's 2 cases with computer to commit felonies, 5 counts, and then there again 5 counts. Then there's another theft by deception. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Rondon.
it's like, that's enough, huh? Tiffany had 404 days now. He's been 322 in Cobb County, but maybe he was arrested in maybe he was originally arrested in Roswell. But he is 404 days without indictment, but he has been indicted on other cases, but he has so many cases. So he still has some things pending.
Theft by deception felony and 3 counts of financial transaction court fraud. All right, then we got 23 CP 220091, Ernest Williams, 404 days without indictment, 3 counts of theft by deception felony. Preach. Rah.
Has other history, but what's important.
Position 1 on one of the add-ons. This is Ernest Williams. There's 2 cases. So number 1 on the add-on is 23 CP 220152. Ernest Williams. It's 404 days without indictment. Not necessarily on this one, but these are new charges. I think they were just taken out. Theft by deception felony and 3 counts of financial transaction court fraud. All right, then we got 23 CP 220091, Ernest Williams, 404 days without indictment, 3 counts of theft by deception felony. Preach. Rah.
Has other history.
Okay, if you guys want to, I'll put the link to that whole entire bail hearing so you guys can get into that. I would suggest probably looking at the older one first, because that's where he had the public defender that was really not prepared for what he needed to be prepared for and kind of fumbled the ball a little bit, in my opinion, but you guys be the judge on that. Let's go over to the call from today. Did everybody listen to the call from today, or joining the chat, Phil? Chat, fill me in. Girl, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. No, he can't go. He's not to stick his pinky toe into Fulton County. He's not even in Fulton County. He's in Cobb County right now. He's not to leave. Let me see if I can pull up just because I think it's only like 10 minutes. So um let me go over here. Hold on a second. Let's let's go over here and just a second. Okay. Is this might be the
Ernest Williams, don't let that lady back in. Ernest Williams, wave your hand.
I heard you,
Which one?
judges.
All right, here we go. It's position. It's the those 4 cases I think for Mr. Williams. Position 2 is 22 CP 210500. 355 days without indictment. There's a $15,000 bond as of $75,000 good bond as of December the 31st, 2022, with 3 counts of conspiracy to commit a felony. Position 4 is 22 CP 212559. 355 days without indictment with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counts of conspiracy to commit a felony, and there is a $20,000 split bond as of 10/17/2022. Position 5, 355 days without indictment, 23 CP 215407. I'm assuming you want me to waive, Mr. Lewis?
Sure.
All right, I can say it if you want me to, or do you want me to waive?
I don't think Mr. Williams cares. Well, yeah. Wait, Judge.
Let me just tell you, this lawyer was about the worst ever. This guy, Carl Lewis, whoever the attorney BC is, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen hide nor hair of him. I don't know if he even has him anymore because this guy right here is a public defender and the next lawyer is a public defender. So let's just listen to this. I don't think this should be like
All right,
uninterrupted.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 other felonies on there that have to do with the nudity, let's say. No bond as of January the 13th, 2023. Rah!
In regards to Mr. Williams, still other open cases, 22 SC 18443, theft by taking, theft by deception, 22 SC 184-402, theft of services, deposit account fraud. Both of those are assigned to Judge Edwards. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
All right, Judge. You mentioned all the days on Mr. Williams. I don't find it to be a good use of anybody's time to go back through all of that. I believe Mr. Williams, my client, is now 59 years old. When I believe when this case first began, he was 58 years of age. Judge, he was born in Augusta, Georgia. He has lived in the Atlanta area since 1994. From 2015 to 2019, he lived in California. He got married in 2015, Judge. He is the father of 6 kids and 4 grandchildren, some of them in the state of Georgia. His oldest granddaughter is a student at Georgia State University. Judge, he has owned grooming parlors, some barber shops.
His lawyer's awful, guys. I mean, he's just awful. He's awful. So it doesn't surprise me that he didn't show up at the next bail hearing. Not that he didn't show up, but that maybe Ernest requested another one, or maybe he just felt like, you know what, you got too much going on, sir. I don't know, but
both in Peachtree and Far Road, as well as in Sandy Springs. He sold some businesses, some land to the city of Atlanta in 2016 from those first sets of business. In 2021, he opened a new location, Ernesto's Grooming, which doors down from the old location. That business has been dissolved partially because of what is going on today with him sitting in. So in other words, he's losing money from his businesses from being in here. And that has been testified also to by one of the law enforcement officers from Roswell. He had owned an unarmed security service, Nesto's Elite Security Company, where he had a number of 1099 persons working for him. Judge, my client has a number of felonies in his past. Those felonies go all the way back to the 80s.
So what you're saying is, sir, you got a whole career criminal right there. Okay. Like, are you supposed to be helping the man or hurting the man? That's just all I wanted to say on that. That just when he said that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Clearly, you are a free attorney. Like, you should get good legal services no matter what. But I mean, you kind of get what you pay for, and unfortunately, in this case, it might not be so great. It's kind of scary bad, right?
He's got he's got one in 2008, which looks like it is a merger, meaning when they're doing the sentence on one, they're doing the sentence on the other.
Does he not think that the judge knows what a merger is?
And there is a deal, and my client decides to take the deal. His wife resides in Buckhead, and you will see, and I think that is the Buckhead community. She doesn't say Buckhead on her affidavit, but she does reside in Fulton County and in Buckhead. Judge, his history, there's nothing in the last 10 years. He's never been in one of these cases accused him of attempting to pass somebody off as a lawyer. His co-defendant in that case has a consent signature bond that has been signed off on. I believe Mr. Majeski can tell you more about that when he gets to it. He has never himself been involved or accused or convicted of anything that involves a person passing themselves off as a lawyer or impersonating anybody ever in life. This last case that came about involves, if my understanding is correct, and I don't know because I haven't received discovery on it since it hasn't been indicted, a single photograph that was found on a computer that the prosecution, well, not even the prosecution at this point, I guess it's still the police because it's not indicted or accused, claimed was my client's, and that he was in possession of either the computer or the photograph that's on there. My client has never been accused of anything involving nudity or anything else with children. He has been convicted of things like armed robbery in his past, and that occurred.
I mean, was he sent to just run him straight to hell or actually help him? I mean, this is absolutely awful. Sometimes holy defenders don't give let me see, don't give a damn. Okay? Clearly.
In Cobb County. I believe he was sentenced to 5 years back then on that. Bank fraud when he came to pick up a check that they said was cleared, and he was arrested on the scene. That's his federal case. So that's the kind of stuff my client has been convicted of in his past. And so far, nothing else has happened on these cases. The oldest you've quoted the dates on, the youngest you've quoted the dates on, all of those dates are beyond the 90 days, some of them beyond 180 days. So what I'm asking for, Judge, is on every last one of these cases, if and where you can, that you enter in a unsecured judicial release that mirrors his co-defendant on one case that she has with him that was consented to, and on another case where there's 14 counts where she engages or is alleged to have engaged in similar behavior as to what she is accused of in this case. On the rest of them, Judge, I'm asking for a UJR, but in no instance of an amount of a bond greater than $5,000 per count. On one of the bonds, I believe that you signed, Judge, you tell him he can't be with his wife. I'm gonna ask that you,
Is that Melody Scretchen?
no, it's the other lady, the SS lady.
Oh, Strawberry.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
So let me just interject right there real quick. When he said the SS lady, this is when I first saw this, this is so on top of a couple of things. So number one, when the deputy district attorney Taylor, she's down here, and then this is the state attorney Majeski. They talked about the phone calls. That's what got me curious and interested in like, oh, what phone calls? But Fulton County doesn't release calls, but Cobb County does, and that's what got me sending that comment to phone calls from prison to see if they could look up the phone calls and get some more deep, because it was like, this is weird. Okay, then he's talking about um girl what he
Melody Scretchen?
No.
okay, so there's this cast of characters of people. They said, oh, you can't be around Sheridan or Shirley Strawberry, and then they said the affidavit. So this is fairly recently. This is April, May when this happened. I can't remember the exact date. I'll have to go back and see what date this affidavit was filed. But no matter what's going on, I don't know that Shirley is separated from this guy. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not sure that she's separated from this guy completely, because last known, the affidavit that was signed stated that he could bail out to her home, or wherever he chooses to go. So she kind of left it open. He can come home or he can go where he wants to. But basically, she was vouching for the fact that she's not a victim. If anyone has alluded to her being a victim, she's not. So I'm going to definitely, I've got that pulled up to play for you guys next. But it was just so weird that this guy was so unprepared and so bad. And then just kind of the weird things that they were, not weird, but this is just this seems to be like an interesting case. I'm going to definitely, that's what kind of got me interested in it.
The other lady, the SS lady.
Oh, okay. And the reason why I stopped about the SS lady, it just seemed like at the beginning of these pretrial hearings, they were really making an effort to not say Shirley's name. The SS lady. Why not say Shirley Strawberry? I think it got more curious when they were really trying to not say her name, which made me think like, are they trying to protect her? Which of course you want to protect victims, but sis says she's not a victim. Normally they don't like to say, they won't say names of victims. However, obviously she's issuing a court order for a no contact, so she has to issue these restraining orders. So they did need the names, and obviously this is all on Zoom now. But the interesting thing to me is, why were they trying to protect Shirley's name? She says she's not a victim. And I felt like, is it because she's attached to a celebrity? This is in Atlanta and all of the things. I don't know. It's just a very weird situation going on.
Strawberry.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, let him be with his wife before we end up having a divorce matter in Fulton County. Judge, also,
I think he was trying to be cute saying that.
I have an affidavit. His wife is a person of some public notoriety. She's given me the affidavit, Judge. I did not file it in, because if it's filed, she likes to kind of remain private where she can when she can. And so she asked that you take the necessary measures. If you want that filed in the court, we can do that. We can publish it directly to you right now, so that her address doesn't become common knowledge for her public. Although she loves her public to death, she wants some privacy occasionally as well. And so that's what we're asking for, Judge. I believe that's the sum total of it. I'm sorry. There are two other matters that my client has in his history that I've been told of, but I haven't been provided with anything on. I understand that he has a warrant for a misdemeanor case out of Henry County that's still awaiting. And I've been told that there's a matter in California that the California doesn't want to extradite. I can't provide you. I wish I could give you more on that, but I can't. I don't have it. All right, so that's my request. And I thank you for hearing me.
All right, Ms. Patton?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on. This will be Kevin Majeski for the state judge, and this will
Okay,
also
go ahead.
be ADA Lisa Taylor. I wish I could be quick on this one, Judge. This is an extremely dangerous person we're dealing with here. And there's going to be numerous upcoming warrants coming in this case. I believe Roswell told us today when we checked for an update. Before the 13th, there's going to be about 15 plus more warrants coming his direction, serious felonies in there, for sure. The reason it was the 13th was so particular is because the last time that these particular cases were heard.
No, when he said the SS person, he was talking about Shirley because she goes, "Oh, Strawberry," and they'd already had Sheridan's name in the record because he said if you mentioned that he could not be with his wife, and she says, "Who? Melody Scretchen?" And he said, "No, the SS person." And she said, "Oh, Strawberry." And then I think they were confusing the names of Sheridan versus Shirley. He's got a no contact with Sheridan, we know, but they used Shirley's name instead, which means that if he were to bond out, he would have a no contact. So that was an error. It needed to be Sheridan versus Shirley. So there was a mix up there. But it was just weird how instead of just saying his wife is actually Shirley Strawberry, the court doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to show preferential treatment. But it was weird how he wanted to use her initials. I don't know. It's especially considering that she's not, as far as we know, providing any information. Let's pivot for a second over here just to break up some of the monotony because these lawyers talk. Well, this is getting to be the good part from Kevin Majeski, but let's pivot here for just a second. And I'm actually on the live that I had done. But anyway, this is posted over on Chronicle Speaks. This is the affidavit that was filed into court in June. It says, there's some things up here, but basically it's like a standard kind of affidavit of Shirley Strawberry. Let me see. I don't think that there's no date on here. But I don't have the date on here. I don't know if there was a date on it. I'm going to go back and see if I can get a better copy of this, but it says, "My name is Shirley Strawberry. I'm over 21 years of age. I reside in Fulton County, Georgia. The facts in this declaration are based upon my personal knowledge. I am the wife of defendant." Let me see. I'm the wife of the defendant. Let me try to make this bigger.
As either a victim of his.
Oops. Okay. I have been told that in one or more of the cases pending before the court, I have been either identified as a victim of his or witness to a crime, a criminal act of his to which I respond, I am neither. It is my intention that the court know once and for all that I am not afraid of my husband, that I wish for him to be released with no conditions as regards to me, that I wish for him to be able to reside with me or wherever he elects to reside, and that his release be effectuated immediately. It is further my declaration that I have never made known to anyone at any time prior or since his arrest my desire contrary to that which is contained in this affidavit. Anything contrary, any, wait, let me see what else it says. Let me see. Let's see. Effectuate immediately. And if contrary understanding has been previously conveyed to this court or any other, they have been deceived. I have not been threatened, coerced, or harassed in any way by any person to cause me to issue this declaration. So I say, let's see, was there anything else to that? And that's it. And then she signed it at the bottom. Okay. So, and that was admitted to the court back in late June, early July. So I don't, between July and September, a lot could have happened. But let's fast forward. We've been hearing a lot of 2022, late 2022 calls. But at the end of the day, there was an affidavit submitted to the court in 2023 that sis was ready for him to come home if he's getting bail, right? And then let's see. I just said I don't have it on here. That was from, so he mentions the affidavit, right? Mr. Carl Lewis, he mentions, I've got an affidavit to give you. That's the affidavit. And the date of this, I would have to go and check my recording date on this. The recording date on this was July 5th, but I believe it was a few days before that because obviously 4th of July, the court would have been closed. I think it was the previous week. So in late June, I can definitely look it up, but he submitted that affidavit into court on that date. So whatever date she wrote that, it was submitted to Judge Manning in this session, if that makes sense, right?
Was in the month of January by Judge Belinda Edwards. She actually heard all the CP cases and she also heard all the SC cases. Then she entered.
So the child corn, I'm using the C word instead of P, but yeah.
A ruling on one of the SC cases on the record and for whatever reason didn't put anything else on the record for the other ones. But Mr. Lewis and I had about, I think it was a 2.5 hour bond motion on that particular one that day. This will be considerably shorter. Yes. But Judge Edwards heard them back then. And if you note the bond order that she did file in, I believe was on 22 SC 184403, she denied bond in that case and left the no bond in 22 SC 184402, noting that he was an extreme likelihood to commit additional felonies. Going back to his history, Judge, of course, as Mr. Lewis correctly stated, starts in the 80s. He has a laundry list of crimes of moral turpitude that he's committed, multiple armed robberies. There was the one in Cobb, but he also committed another one in Douglas County as well. Got 10 years of custody for that, a short custody time in the first one, 10 years in the next one. Then, of course, false statements, multiple FTAs, probation violations, and the bank fraud, which he actually did get federal time for as well. So it was a little bit more complicated than it was held out to be today. He's an AMC recidivist. To address Mr. Lewis's
so Majeski is a state attorney. So he's working for the state of Georgia. He's basically like a state level. So basically you've got your district attorneys for Fulton County. He's a state attorney. So he's representing the state of Georgia. So he's got state crimes and, crimes in his districts. So he's got Fulton, he's got Roswell, he's got Henry. And I don't know if he has anything in Cobb, but this guy has a lot going on.
Statements that he made about the California cases. It's true, he does actually have 2 warrants for his arrest out of California. Those are, as Mr. Lewis said, non-extradition warrants that he has present in both those cases.
He has federal
we have
crimes.
the reports
Okay.
and the warrants in those cases in our file. They have to deal, both of those cases have to do with transporting stolen cars back here to Atlanta, actually, is what it says in both of those reports. One of them was out of LA County and one of them was out of Orange County.
Stolen cars.
And then, of course, there is the case that the other county in Georgia has to hold on him for as well, Judge. When it comes down to these particular cases, I will note for the court that he does, I believe it's on case number 22 CP 212559. That case became kind of like an amalgamation of a few cases when it got entered in the clerk's office. I believe there's 3 charges on there that have no bond currently. We did address that in front of Judge Edwards, as Mr. Lewis can tell you as well, last time we were there, and I agreed with him. He was entitled to a bond then, still is now. And I had proposed, when Mr. Lewis and I had talked, a bond of $25,000 per on those particular charges.
Look at Ernesto's lawyer if you're paying attention to the boxes. So Majeski's talking in the green. Obviously, we're also familiar with Zoom. But look at Mr. Carl Lewis. He's just kind of like, what the fuck?
Reason I proposed that particular bond is because that particular bond mirrored what he had in the other case, which was $25,000 good as well. Judge, we consider this person to be a flight risk. We have jail calls where he's talking about going to see his girlfriend in Florida, multiple times actually. We have a call where he was talking with his wife about going to stay in her boss's house. I'm going to leave out all the names here, as Mr. Lewis did as well, about her boss's house in Abu Dhabi, which is, of course, quite far away from here, quite far removed from any court's jurisdiction here. And just the general scheme that's been going on here, Judge.
So just imagine the phone call that he made after, because this guy's hooked on making phone calls. There's hundreds of calls. Just imagine after hearing that, now all of a sudden he's got the bright idea it's not a good idea to talk on the phone. Like, what?
When we were last in front of Judge Edwards, she put us on the clock, said, you guys got to get this done. You guys got to get this investigation done. We've been working
All right, let me show
with
you.
Roswell off and on, talking.
This is him right here. So keep in mind, you've heard him a million times say he's in Cobb County. You can't see him well right here, but he has on he's got on kind of like some big aviators, and he's wearing a mask. He's clearly not wanting his face to be shown. And this is a guy who, he's a career criminal. He knows the ropes, right? So he doesn't want his face shown. So that's him in the Cobb box right there. Okay. This is the state attorney who's going over the federal charges. And then this lady here in this box is ADA Taylor. Let me make this bigger. Okay. So here's Ernesto right here. Here is the state attorney reciting the federal charges. ADA Taylor was getting ready to speak, and he took the mic basically because I'm assuming that like the federal takes priority in like the rules of court. So he got to kind of go over his cases with the judge first, and then here's Taylor, who is going to talk about crimes specific to Fulton County. But this is the judge right here. If you can see my cursor, that's Judge Manning right there.
To them to see where their investigation is. It's on schedule. It will be done by the 13th. You'll be served with, like I said, 15 plus new warrants, some of which are very serious that this court, just to put it out there, that this court may not even be able to consider, unfortunately. It would have to be considered by a sitting elected Superior Court judge. And for that reason, I would have to recommend the $25,000 per on the 22 CP 212559. I believe that the other ADA Taylor, has something to say about 23 CP 215407 and the state's recommendation for bond in that particular matter, Judge.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Good evening, Your Honor. Yes, as Mr. Majeski has stated, he's considered dangerous. There are several pending warrants that will be coming out that, based on their content alone, there's a great likelihood that he's someone who commit further felonies. Furthermore, without mentioning the facts of the case in front of us, children were involved. The state is requesting a bond, knowing that he has to have a bond because it's been well over 200 days, a bond of $200,000 per count, giving us a grand total of $800,000 bond for the case involving the exploitation. There are 4 separate counts there. As standard, I would also request that there be an ankle monitor placed on Mr. Williams, as well as that he surrender his passport, not leave Fulton County.
So if you heard the call today over on phone calls from prison, he said, and they said that I need to submit my passport. This may not have been that hearing, because this hearing was in late June, July. However, he's gone through this before, but he was telling Shirley, I got my passport stolen and da 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 da. Who Okay, so now all of a sudden I've got to get an affidavit signed, got my passport and da 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 da. That way, so if I get out or when I get out, then I'm not going to have to worry about that because I can't submit it. I don't have it. All of these things. But I have a call I'm going to put up tonight where he's talking to Shirley about kind of a little bit of this. The weird thing is, to me, is that Shirley is like, I think they're trying to get me in there, so I'm going to trip up and say something. I think they want to catch me in something. I don't know what Shirley knew about this man's dealings. I don't know if they were on some Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know if she was on some don't get me involved. You do what you would, I mean, like whatever you do for your business is like, I don't know. I do not know. That's another reason, like, I'm not expecting too much tomorrow. Maybe they're going to talk about Steve's tea and try to throw everybody off. But Shirley can't talk about this. This man, she can't talk about Ernesto. The only thing she can talk about is, you guys know my husband's in jail. And that's pretty much it. I was embarrassed, whatever. But she can't talk about his case. According to her, she don't know anything. But when she talks to him on the phone, it seems like she knows a little bit of something, because it just seems like, why would you be afraid that they're going to try and trip you up and try to make you say something? If you don't know anything, you shouldn't be worried about not saying something or being tricked to say something. If you have a clear mind that you had no idea that he was involved in any kind of endeavors of an illegal nature, then you should, like, everything should just be kind of like, like, he had a barbershop. That's all I know. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't involved in the day-to-day of his business. I'm busy doing my own business, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, okay, let's wrap up this. But it's interesting listening to this 2 months later, now having listened to some of these calls, because it really brings a lot of this more to life, if you'd seen this
And
before.
no internet access at all, and no contact with any minors or animals. But again, he's met all of the Ayala factors. He's a flight risk, as evidenced by phone calls that we've heard.
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
and Judge, just one more thing. If the court is inclined to grant a bond on this, which would see him released, the state does have a number of people we would be requesting no contact with as well.
All right.
Before you go, I'm sorry, Mr. Majeski, finish up.
Oh, no problem. Melody Scretchen,
Okay.
Gail Bickham, Alasia Alexander, Leilani Waits, that's THW, Miles Williams, Lakeisha Williams,
That's his daughter.
Brianna Jordan, Deborah Johnson, Sheridan Strawberry and her kids, Olivia Washington, and Erica King, or Erica Hughley. That was the person Mr. Lewis was referring to earlier, who is her co-defendant in this particular matter, Judge. And yes, the court did, as he noted, we did enter into a consent bond with her. That was for reasons, of course, that we're not discussing here in court today.
So Erica Hughley, Erica King got a consent bond. So they said for reasons that they're not going to discuss. So sounds like she may either be helping, she may be dropping a dime, she could be putting everything off on him. Like, who knows what deal Erica Hughley worked up. but Mr. Lewis was asking for the same service that Miss King got, but yeah, he's not getting that because apparently they're not going to discuss that. But I can only imagine, sitting in jail, he's been in for over a year now, that yes, sis is probably dropping a dime on him. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they're probably like, if you can bring this thing to life, you can tell us what's going on, then maybe we can be a little bit more easy on you. I don't know, but that's what I would imagine, right?
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Judge, one other thing, and I would, so the other thing that I've got, Judge, is although Mr. Majeski speaks of these things, and so does Ms. Taylor, there was no evidence offered to any of these things that are now being alluded to during that hearing that lasted for 2.5 hours. None of it. There was, and I permitted it, Judge, during the closing argument of the state, I permitted them to talk. I didn't object to any of it. Where promises were made about upcoming charges upcoming to Judge Edwards. And we have made it from January 31st all the way now to June the 26th.
Okay, they just put a timestamp on it. So the date of this hearing is June 26, 23. So they've gone all the way from January, he said, all the way to June 26, 23, and no evidence, no further indictment. And this was the day that the affidavit that I just read. So if you're just coming in, just scoot and slide back a little bit, that Shirley provided to the court. Because I would imagine no matter when she signed that affidavit, if that affidavit was null and void and she didn't feel that way anymore as of that date, then she would have notified the court, I no longer feel that way, and the affidavit is rescinded. But the affidavit was submitted to the court on June 26th. So she claims that she is not a victim. She's not afraid. She wants her husband, his release effectuated immediately, and all of the things. So just slide back if you want to hear that, but that's June 26th.
And we're told that in the future, something will be coming. I'm asking this court to give the future no credit whatsoever, because we had a whole bunch of future between January 31st and June the 30th. And if we keep on giving the future credit where things don't show up, we'll have a person sitting in jail who hasn't, not the issue of not being convicted, but not even accused and being held. And so I'm going to ask the court, reiterate my request to you before, UJR, no more than 5,000 counting everything. And I did not hear Ms. Taylor tell us whether that was more than one picture in those 5 counts or not, but I thought it was one picture, or at least I believe that's what Mr. Majeski told me, but it's been so long ago since he talked about that. I can't rightfully remember right now. Thank you.
It's 4.
Your
I
Honor.
can do that now. It's 4.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Clark. Ms.
Yeah,
Taylor,
Mr.
sorry.
Mr. Majeski addressed it. There were numerous images, actual.
So his lawyer's over here trying to discount the child P pictures, and he said, I think it's just one. Mr. Majeski says it's 4, and the Assistant District Attorney Taylor says it's numerous. The sad thing is that with child P, one picture could be 1,000 pictures somewhere else, and one picture of a child being victimized is way too much, because where there may not be any pictures, there still could be a lot of damage and victimization going on. By the time a picture makes it into your computer, I don't even know what's, you know what I mean? Like, we don't even know what took place in between that. But they said that there's numerous pictures in his computer. So I don't know. His lawyer
And as a
sucks.
matter of fact, The reason the case is still ongoing, the investigation is ongoing. Several more witnesses have come forward between January and now. They're still coming forward. We're trying to have a thorough investigation before we just indict. We can't just.
I got you. All right, Bob Sal. Booth one, head up, everybody sit up straight. Trust me, I'm tired too, but I've been working all day. Sit up straight. There you go. All right, position 2, ending in 0500. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You must surrender your passport to Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis will put it in his safe that he has with all his money locked up in. Cannot leave Fulton County, cannot leave the state of Georgia. Stay away from 7100 Suttles Drive. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. You're going to have a 24-hour curfew with an ankle monitor paid for by the county.
Oh, so my bad. They said you cannot leave Fulton County. So if he were to come back, he can't leave. So my bad. I said he was not to enter Fulton County, but I think she's also going to say that he's not to go somewhere, but we'll listen to that in a second.
You can leave for court, medical, employment, attorney's visits, and job, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, the exact location it'll need to be working. It'll obviously need to be in Fulton County. No further contact with Melody Scretchen, Scretchen. If you got all that right on that one, that'll be a $5,000 good bond. Position 3, ending in 1078, 5,000 each count. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Erica Hughley, Shirley Strawberry, Erica, let's see, Brandon, oh goodness, okay, let's see, Gail Blickham, Alana Alexandra, you said? Layla, oh gosh, you got to go, Mila Williams.
Judge and Deputy Clerk, I think it was Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Requested that I send her all the names. I'm going to be doing that as soon as you.
All right, good. You rattled those off. So those names: cannot leave Georgia, cannot leave Fulton County, must surrender your passport to Mr. Lewis. Like I said, he'll stick it away where he's got all his money. All right,
Judge, clear it up for me, please. You mentioned Shirley Strawberry. You did not mean to mention Shirley Strawberry. Is that correct?
Sheridan.
Sheridan. Okay, yes.
Sheridan. Sorry, Sheridan.
Okay.
So Sheridan Strawberry, Sheridan. I apologize. I've marked through that. That's why I guess I'm
okay.
All right. You got the ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 20.
They keep messing up the names. Shirley has never asked for or intended to be on the no contact list. The judge keeps fumbling the names. If you slide back a little bit, you'll hear where his attorney asked her to clear it up, and he's asked her again for the second time in this hearing. She keeps mentioning Shirley for the no contact, but it's Sheridan and her children, not Shirley. He provided an affidavit from Shirley stating, to the contrary. So, but they keep including her and as a victim, and she says she is not a victim, never has been a victim. She's not afraid, all of the things. And basically stating that she's not afraid. She is wanting him to bail out to her home or wherever he'd like to go. So I'm sure at this point she knows something is up with the girlfriend. She obviously has to, because these are on Zoom. When we all saw these Zoom hearings, she had to have seen it. You know what I mean? Like, my God. But who knows? Anyway, let's keep going with this one. I think the other one is a little bit shorter, so we can watch this other one. And kind of put that to bed, because honestly, the other one just happened not too long ago, maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. And that was for some more add-on charges, because he's like up to 18, maybe 21. He's got a lot.
24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical visits, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, the exact location you'll be working. And you can just lift all those on that one, Ms. Hunter. Position 4, ending in 2559. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, the exact location you'll be working. No further contact with your co-defendant, Erica Hughley. And here I've got Sheridan Strawberry and Amanda Johnson. No further contact with them. $5,000 on each count. Position 5407, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, the exact location you'll be working. Can't leave Fulton County. You have to turn over your passport to Mr. Lewis. No further contact with anyone under the age of 18. No social media, no internet access. Surrender your passport, like I said, and you cannot leave Fulton County. 200,000 on each count. Best of luck to you, sir.
Judge, are you appending that language to if in fact he's got that hold in Henry County that the ankle monitor gets fitted upon return?
Yeah, if he'll have 48 hours to have the ankle monitor placed on his ankle if there's a Henry County.
Right. Okay.
I think I've covered everything, right? Internet access and or animals. I've got animals. No contact with any animals of any kind.
Okay.
Okay, guys, this, just to timestamp it, this hearing was actually on June 26th. Okay. I should put that on the screen before I move screens. Let me just put that on here. Well, anyone on the playback can hear me say that, but we won't worry about that right now. If you're upon the replay, this hearing at this moment in time, this was June 26, 2023. So that's that. Okay. Let's pivot to this one. So I guess we're kind of going back in time a little bit so we can get ourselves kind of level set on what's going on. So I don't know if hopefully you guys are finding this interesting. Let's go to the one that was most recent. This one, I put this video up 3 weeks ago, and this was the new felony charges. Let's look at this real quick. Oh, do you have it pulled up? Okay, good. So this is over on my other channel, Real Talk Bougie, on Monday. And this is, let me see. Okay. So here's his public defender right here. Let me try to make this a little. So the date of this video is August 16th, and I said that it was on a Monday. So August 16th was a Wednesday. So this hearing was August 14th. Okay. So again, the date of this video is August 16th, but this Zoom hearing took place on that Monday. So this is the new add-on charges. And just to kind of level set who's the players here, right here in the Cobb booth, you can always find Ernesto in a Cobb booth. So Cobb booth number 1, that's clearly not him. Cobb booth number 2, that's him in his orange jumpsuit wearing his mask and glasses, so nobody can really see him. Here's Judge Alex Manning right here. Okay, here's Ernesto right here at the top. Judge Manning right here, Hannah Rondo. This is his new public defender right here. And I think ADA Taylor is going to come on in a second. I'm not sure who's going to come on representing Fulton County at the time, but I think Majeski shows up too. But let's listen to this, okay? Get this a little bit. This one's going to be short, and you're going to hear me talking a little bit, but I think the first part of this, we just let this run through without interruption. So better so you can see her. Okay, I guess that'll work. And like I said, again, this was Monday. This is Judge Manning. And this was in Fulton County Court. This was another bail hearing for some current charges. And once again, the state is still there, and they are talking about new charges coming. So let's get into this. We'll watch it all the way through, and then we'll come back and kind of, talk about it as it goes. So I'll drop the link to this, guys. We're just going to go make one pass through where I think I'll just let it play all the way through uninterrupted. And then I'll drop the link. So if you guys want to watch this on your own and see what my commentary was at that time, that way I won't hold you guys. I know it's getting late. It's almost midnight. But we'll do one pass through on this. And then tomorrow, we'll either go back to phone calls from prison. If you are watching on Real Talk Bougie, I am going to drop a phone call tonight. So I've already uploaded it and everything. So it'll be over there. So as soon as we finish up over here, I will put it on a premiere. So it'll have a chat room for whomever wants to go over there and chat. So it'll be dropping tonight whenever I finish this up, and then we'll regroup tomorrow at some point. Okay.
All right, is Mr. Matthews here yet?
No, Judge, I'll reach out to his office.
Okay. What about, okay, Miss Rhonda, is she here or are you?
Hughes, SN Hughes, me too. I mean, I used to listen remember Shirley from the Doug Banks show. And then I listened to Steve Harvey for a very long time. Sheridan was still a little girl. But it's probably been 10 years since I was a regular listener. Of course, I pop in every now and again when something's going on. But as far as like a regular drive, first thing in the morning radio, yeah. So it is interesting, Sheridan's all grown up. She's got two kids. She's got her two baby favels and all of the things, and interesting how this whole thing has played out, right?
You have one now, Mr. Olip. Are you picking up the slack?
She should be. She's right there. There she goes.
Good evening, Your Honor. I'm here.
Okay. All right. So we'll take Ernest Williams first. Where is Ernest Williams? There you go. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you. All right. We got Bostic here. I don't see Bostic. Or somebody from pretrial. No, there's Bostic. All right, you ready, Ms. Holmes? Ms. Bosky? Here we go. This is position one on one of the add-ons. This is Ernest Williams. There's two cases. So number one on the add-on is 23 CP 220152. Ernest Williams. It's 404 days without indictment. Not necessarily on this one, but these are new charges. I think they were just taken out. Theft by deception felony and 3 counts of financial transaction card fraud. All right, then we got 23 CP 220091, Ernest Williams, 404 days without indictment, 3 counts of theft by deception felony. Rah!
Has other history, but what's important, I guess, is he has 8 open cases. 2 with Judge Edwards, 22 S.
So number one on the add-on is 23 CP 220152. Ernest Williams. It's 404 days without indictment. Not necessarily on this one, but these are new charges. I think they were just taken out. Theft by deception felony and 3 counts of financial transaction card fraud. All right, then we got 23 CP 220091, Ernest Williams, 404 days without indictment, 3 counts of theft by deception felony. Rah!
Has other history, but what's important, I guess, is he has 8 open cases. 2 with Judge Edwards, 22 SC 104, theft by taking, theft by deception, theft of services, deposit account fraud. He got a few CWAC cases. Then there's the other theft by deception, 3 counts, CWAC case, the capital CWAC case. Then there's 2 cases with computer to commit felonies, 5 counts, and then there again 5 counts. Then there's another theft by deception. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Rondon.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Williams is 58 years old. He has been a resident of the state of Georgia for his entire life. He does have family here in the state, and that includes his 6 children who are all various grown ages. Mr. Williams did graduate high school. He went to Richmond Academy, and prior to his incarceration, he was employed. He had various businesses that he owned and operated. Since he has been incarcerated, those businesses have no one's been running them. And so since he's been in custody for 404 days, his financial status has been severely impacted. Your Honor, on position 1, which is the case ending in 152, Mr. Williams currently has a $40,000 bond, and I would ask your honor to reduce that bond not to exceed $25,000. And for position 2, which is the case that ends in 091, 091, he's currently in no bond status, and I would ask your honor to set bond $8,000. That's a total of $24,000. From pretrial, I did hear open cases, and I believe your honor is somewhat familiar with Mr. Williams as he has appeared before you with different representation, not with me. But I didn't hear pretrial mention any failure to appears. So there's no indication that Mr. Williams would be a flight risk or that he would not return to court to answer for his business with Fulton County. I know Mr. Williams is looking forward to his day in court, and so he would return to every and all future court dates. So your honor, again, on position 1, I'm asking the court to consider reducing the bond not to exceed $25,000. And on position 2, I'm asking for $8,000 apiece or per charge, so a total of $24,000.
All right, what says the state?
Hi, Judge.
Hey, Mr. Majeski.
Kevin Majeski for the state. Yeah, we've been here before on Mr. Williams. I know you know Mr. Williams well at this point, so I am going to skip my normal verbose speech that you've heard a few times now and just cut to the chase. Ms. Rondon and I have actually talked earlier today, and we've talked about Mr. Williams' case on previous occasions as well, Judge. You know his history. There are a few FTAs on his GCIC, NCIC. You know, he's an ANC recidivist. You know everything. He's got a long and checkered history. Goes back to the 80s. Okay. On these cases right here, the state's position, especially since now we have compiled the entire report. We have received it since the last time we were in court here. Hold on, my Zoom just kicked off for some reason. There we go. We've compiled it since the last time we were in court. The narrative on him and all of his cases, it's about 224 pages long. So it's extensive. That includes everything that he is being charged with at this time, and including some things that he hasn't been, but will be taking direct warrants on as well. The state believes that the bonds are appropriate as set, as they are right now, $40,000 on the 152 case ending in 152, and no bond on the case ending in 091. I think in myself and Deputy Winfrey with H-Tice, we've had the opportunity to meet about this case since the last time that we have been in this court as well. So we have a generalized plan going forward. We just need to figure out how we want to structure the indictments. Can be anywhere 3 right now, most likely, and then get it done, Judge. That's where we're at right now.
I thought, were there going to be some more CWAC charges, or is this it?
Pretty
Come
much
on in, booth 2 North, booth 2, come on in. Either come in and have a seat or get out of the booth. 1 of 2 choices. Go ahead.
Oh, pretty much everything is as it's going to be right now. The only new charges, unless they find some new evidence, and I can tell you they are going through some additional stuff right now.
Sure.
So I should say I'm not sure at this point, okay? To be completely honest with you, but I do know that they have a search warrant that they were doing, that they're executing on an item of evidence at this time. So there may be, but everything's moving forward in the way that we had anticipated it going forward thus far, Judge. We're on track.
All right, and how much are you asking for?
Right now, 60 days.
I mean, how much on each count? Are you asking for
nope.
continuance of 6 days?
Well, no. Yeah, I understand. I think that 091 is appropriate as set and 152 is appropriate as set too, both cases ending in those amounts.
All right. All right, casing in 0152, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 980 Pine Grove Road. No further contact with Melanie, SCRETHEN. No further contact with your co-defendant, Erica King. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical.
Sorry, guys. I dropped the link to both of these hearings. If you want to watch them again on your own, uninterrupted, please feel free to do so. They're on my other channel, Real Talk Bougie. I am dropping a call tonight as soon as I can finish getting it set for drop. So have your notifications on for that, or you can watch it whenever you're available to do so. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll do a reaction over here tomorrow, pretty much after we hear what's said or not said. Regarding the strawberry letter, right? But like I said earlier in the live, if you're just coming in, I think what's so interesting about this is this any more interesting than anyone else being in jail right now? Probably not. But the interesting thing is that Shirley is someone who we all kind of know from the radio for a very long time. Everyone pretty much knows who Steve Harvey is. At the end of the day, whether you love them, you hate them, you're indifferent about them, it's just interesting because this guy has got a laundry list of a variety of crimes, from financial crimes to various different identity theft to assaults to potentially even grifting this woman that we know who seems to have worked very hard for a long time. She seems to be very unsuspecting and naive, but then sometimes she seems to be kind of sly, super cool, and holding her cards really close and not trying to, like, be kind of cool about how she's going to not work with the police or, um, whatever the case might be. So we really don't know what's going on. There's like the mystery of this couple. There's the mystery of the love triangle. There's the whole interest of just the crimes and what he's been doing around Atlanta and in other places. It sounds like he had some sort of crimes in California, but they're non-extraditable, so he's going to have those dropped. This man has been kind of had his hand in a lot of things. And to a lot of people's question, well, how did this guy get into Shirley's life? We really don't know. Steve Harvey took a lot of credit for this relationship, but there's a lot of people who show up in the comments. He never introduced them. He didn't have anything to do with it. This is what we know. He walked her down the aisle. He had on a tuxedo. He put her hand in Ernest's hand, and Ernest showed up to the radio station one day asking for her hand. And Steve also said that Ernest called him to ask for her hand. Okay. And then he showed up to the radio station to propose. He proposed, and then when they got married, Steve was definitely part of I was about to say, girl, the shenanigans. Um there's the and then there's these calls. Not only did we're seeing front hand a liar and a love triangle play out, but we're also seeing the manipulation of the family and how this family is lying to Shirley and maybe even lying to Sonia too. I mean, I think it's easy to think that they're only lying to Shirley, but Ernesto, if you listen to the call over on phone calls from prison today, he was trying to lie to Sonia. Okay, Sonia. And I think she realized he was lying to her a little something, something. And you heard her say, like almost kind of like, don't you remember I was on the phone? Weren't you on the other line? Or I was talking to your son. Maybe he didn't expect his son to say, oh, Shirley's calling me on the other line. Hold on. Or, oh, that was my dad and Shirley calling. So when he talked to Sonia, he was trying to play like, or not play like, but he was just not cluing her into the call. But she already knew about it. Okay. And he got busted trying to kind of not tell her everything, which may have been the reason why old girl called old girl and told old girl everything, right? We heard about that. So I don't know. There's so much going on here, which is why I find this so fascinating. So you guys tell me if you're on the replay why you find this fascinating. Because I kind of broke it down to a couple of different things, because it's not just the phone calls, it's not just Ernest and Shirley, it's not just the love triangle, it's not just the family dynamic, it's everything. It's everything. Um, Let me see if I can find that old girl. Oh, is this it? Uh, okay, that's not. Let's find it. Old girl called old girl and told her everything. And he said, well, we're not going to talk about that. That was in, I believe, March. Let's see. Let me drop this playlist too. If you guys are not in the playlist and not I'm dropping everything in there so you can find pretty much everything in there to stay up to date on I'll put it in the description box. I don't think I've got all right, let me go find what I really needed to find and then I'll drop you guys the playlist address. Just a second. It's like it's getting late and I feel like it's getting late. You know how all of a sudden you just kind of feel like, oh, it's getting late. Okay. Let's see. Guys, if you are in the bushes and you've not subscribed to this channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. So when I go live another time, post a video, and you want to be in the premiere chat or the live, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. That way you won't be in any kind of waiting period to get in. Also, so that you can get your notifications. If you're not subscribed, you may or may not, you probably still will get notifications because that's just how YouTube works because they know what you're watching whether you subscribe or not, they're going to still let you know. But if you want to definitely get your notifications, that might be something you want to do. Let me see. Why can't I find this? I felt like I posted it the other day. Old girl told old girl everything. Okay, well, if I don't want to waste too much time with you guys, and not have it in front of me. Is this it? Okay, that's not it. Okay, I don't know if you guys have any questions. I can answer anything about what we've talked about so far, what we've seen so far. I wanted to get into one of the phone calls today, but we just ended up over there at those bail hearings. But I'm kind of glad we did because I felt like it was kind of a little bit of a good refresher if it's been a while since you've seen any of those because it was so much information. And now, kind of hearing a little bit more of the behind the scenes because it's the behind the scenes for me. I love hearing kind of like the details that we wouldn't normally get that we've gotten now privy to because uh the phone calls. Oh, here it is right here. Here it is. Okay, just a sec. Let me click on this. Okay. Can you guys see this? It doesn't seem like it's showing. All right, let me reshare. Okay. So Sonia called Shirley and told her everything. That's that's what we can only surmise at this point. I'm sure we're gonna know sooner than later. Let me see if this is working. It seems like there might be sometimes. Okay. All right. If this doesn't work, we're gonna just have to let me just pick up my phone and we're gonna do it that way because it's nothing really to see anyway. It seems like the sharing is who knows? It's a little bit late and who knows if they're doing like a little bit of some sort of backup or whatever, but let's see. All right.
I'm doing all right. Shit, I'm trying to make. Oh, I told you, old girl called old girl in California and told her everything. Okay, yeah, I got that part, but I'll talk about that I'll talk about that. I got you. Yeah.
This next clip is from May 29th, and you'll hear Ernesto. Damn. So, old girl called old girl in California and told her everything. And he basically says, don't talk about that. What do you think that was? Okay. Well, apparently not. They're apparently not. Um,
Okay, how you doing? I'm doing all right. Hey, shit, I'm trying to make it, man. Oh, I told you, old girl called old girl in California and told her everything. Okay, yeah, I got that part, but don't talk about that don't talk about that. I got you. Yeah.
this next clip is from May 29th. Let me see.
Shit, I'm trying to make it, man. Oh, I told you, old girl called old girl in California and told her everything. Okay, yeah, I got that part, but don't talk about that don't talk about that. I got you. Yeah.
This next clip is from May 29th, and you'll hear Ernesto. Damn. So, okay. So, guys, I think we're pretty much caught up right now. We didn't get to listen to the calls, but like I said, I'm dropping something on Real Talk Bougie, so you'll have that in like less than an hour, and then we'll talk about that tomorrow. But like I said, there's hundreds. This man has been in jail for over 400 days. He has been, I guess this is kind of a ritual now, because I keep this up on my computer. So let me just share this screen. He has been in Cobb County. So omit Fulton, because he was in Fulton almost 90 days. So omit Fulton, but he's been in Cobb for 347 days. Okay. So just imagine if he's calling 2-3, he makes like 2-3 phone calls a day. How many calls there are? Hundreds of calls. Hundreds. A lot. A lot. Okay. Anyway, okay, you guys saw that. Anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening. I hope you found this informative and interesting. And if so, go ahead and do me a favor and show me some love. Hit the like button, and share this as well. If you can share this to your Instagram stories, Facebook, if you have a community page, if you can share me out, I so appreciate it. The way that this social media thing works is keeping it social, and keeping it social includes sharing. So if you enjoyed this, you found it informative, somebody else might want to hear this, someone else might need to get into this, and all of the things, go ahead and share if you can. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. As you can tell, I'm getting a little bit tired. We will get into this tomorrow, and I will have as many updates as there are available, and we'll get back into it. Okay, I hope that you guys have a great night. If you're upon the replay, go ahead, make sure to drop me some comments down below. What did you think? What are your questions? What's going on with the family? Again, it's unfortunate for Shirley, but Shirley's not unique. This happens to a lot of people. This is happening to somebody right now. You know what I mean? This happened to someone right down the street. Who knows? You know what I mean? So, this is more common than some people like to think. But at the end of the day, I think that's why people are so interested in it, because really this really could have happened and is happening to just about any and everyone. At one point, everyone has been lied to at least once. Sometimes you have been deceived. Unfortunately, some people become separated with their money. Sometimes people scam them, all of the things, family holds secrets, all of those things. So this is all like the makings of a lot of stuff that is very familiar. And I think that's why people are finding this so interesting. Anyway, you guys comment to me down below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you guys next time. Take care. Have a great evening.